friend. How was your week? I hope it's been very well. Oh, I should probably move this tea so that you can have your spot at the table. There we go. Didn't really have a plan today. I have a few little things I wanted to show you that I'm working on, and I wanted to add a little bit to them. But I just felt like being creative, and I thought, maybe somebody else out there would like to join me and do something interesting today. So you can pull up a chair and let's see what we create. Before I do anything though, I'm going to remind you to go get your hydration. Everybody needs some water. And while you're doing that, I'm going to light the candle, which I don't know if you can see it. I'm going to move it over here for a second. We have a new candle today. We absolutely went through the last one. There we go. Eventually, I'll use up the candles that I already have. And then I want to stick to basically just doing plain beeswax pillar candles. I don't know. I just like them. They're more natural. They look pretty. I don't know. I just like them. But yeah, I guess we're going to start with my wrong page. Gratitude page. Because I haven't done that yet today. There we go. I'm going to try to pick a random color. This color. What would I like to be thankful for today? I'm going to be thankful for dog fences. That is something to be very thankful for that I have. Well, I have in one spot, but not the other spot. So sometimes she still escapes, but I don't think I've ever said dog fences before. That's pretty important to be thankful for them. Dog fence. And what else do I want to be thankful for today? Paint. I did some watercolor painting recently and it was very fun. I gotta do more of it. But I'm just gonna put paint. All paints. Paints. There we go. There's today's. So while I have this one open, I want to show you a project I'm working on. Check this out. I'm gonna try to zoom you in a little. Maybe like that. Okay, so this is very faint, but actually I'm gonna lift it up so you can see it close up. It's I asked Echo, my ChatGPT, to make me a what is this, like a stained glass template kind of thing, and I printed it out to fit my journal, and I printed it out twice. Once I did it this way. The one that I put in here is much more faded transparency. I turned the transparency down. That way the lines weren't so dark. And then I printed out a second one on cardstock. So that way it'd be thicker and easier to work with. And you can see I labeled all of my little pieces just so that I could put them in little baggies. So when I want to do a piece, I can find the pieces much quicker. Not quick, but much quicker. Okay. And then you can see I've got this little blue piece of sky here, and you can't see it because they're white, but I've got two little clouds right here. So my plan for this was to, so I got the little tab over here on this page. It was so that we could I say we, yeah, so that I could, as I create my journal and do my pages, whenever I have little scraps of paper left over for different colors, I wanted to take a little template piece and cut it out and glue it on here so that I create a little stained glass picture using scraps from my journal pages. So I'm pretty excited about this. I have a feeling this is going to be an activity that I put in all of my journals going forward, if this turns out successful, because it is really cool. Now, if you'll give me just a moment, I had, oh, there it is. I had a little piece of scrap that I can't reach. Practically standing on my head trying to reach that. There we go. I had this little piece of scrap that I thought would be cool for doing part of the path. So I'm going to do these two pieces on the path. And I thought I would sit and do that with you today, just to add to it. Now, granted, I have a ton of scraps, so if I really felt froggy, I could have, like, you know, already filled this in and been done with it. But I thought it would be much cooler, much cooler. That's probably not even a saying. I thought it would be cool if I, instead of just filling it with random scraps, instead I was going to fill it with scraps that are specifically from pages in my scrapbook. Yeah. I'm tired. I did not get enough sleep last night. Can you tell? It probably doesn't help that today is both a low energy day and a low mood day, which is why I'm here, because I thought that maybe journaling, being creative, talking to you guys, creating a space for other people, maybe that would kind of get me out of my own head a little. So here we are. We are also joined by my two dogs. I have Daisy is asleep on a blanket on the other side of the room, and Luna is on a bed that's underneath my table right now, and I might move that later because I was trying to put it under there so they'd have a bed, because that's where Luna stays most of the time now, but it's really annoying me because now I have 0 spots for my feetsies, so that might move. Okay, that took me a really long time to trace those out because this is some kind of a weird waxy paper, so don't know that my trace, yep, I can see my trace. Okay. Yep. Come off, tape. I'm not entirely sure yet, but I think when I get all done with this, I think I'm going to take and get a black paint pen, like a Posca marker or something. I don't have one yet, not a thick one enough to do what I want it to do. And then I'm going to outline around all of this to kind of give it that stained glass effect. I'm just not sure if that'll work or not. I might have to do a little research, see what my best option is. And I did find a use for the glue stick that I now own. I had to buy a glue stick. I hate glue sticks. I really do. They never work the way I want them to. But I did have to buy a glue stick because I found that I've lost my glue stick already. If I was a really tired Becky, where would I have put the glue stick? has a home, I swear. You can't see it, but I have this. Actually, I will move it so you can see it. I have my little caddy of things. And I always put my glue right here. Oh, here it is. It went in the scissor one. Glue goes in this one. I don't know how it got there, but it did. There we go. And then I bought this. I want to show you it. It's the same brand as my tacky glue that I always use, but it's a glue stick. Now, it didn't necessarily say for paper, and it definitely didn't say acid free. So it's probably not a great idea for most people, but I hate glue sticks. They never work for me. And like, it's really hard to get my stuff to stay. It always comes back up a few days later and it drives me crazy. But I figured I'd try this one because it said industrial strength glue stick. So now I have a use for it. I did glue down these clouds and they stayed really well because I was going to use just my regular liquid glue, but this little blue piece of sky right here was a very thin paper, and so when I used the liquid glue, it kind of like wrinkled it and stuff, and it looks kind of funny. So I figured we'd try the stick glue. That does also mean though that I'll just use a sticky note. I found that I have to use these, like, actually I should put this over here, these little scrap pieces of paper to put down to be able to glue these. Otherwise, I get glue everywhere, and then it really makes me mad. And there, you're just gonna watch me struggle. Okay, here we go. This was PC11. And I will apologize in advance if you're hearing any kind of scruffling. I don't know what the word is for it. But I've got my new mic hooked to me, but it feels like it keeps, I'm gonna try moving it a little. It feels like it's too high or something, and it keeps getting bumped. But I like the new mic because, well, the sound quality is better, but as part of the sound quality being better, sometimes when I'm talking, especially when I'm talking like to myself or to my supplies, I kind of like lower my voice. It's not really whispering, it's just kind of mumbling. And on the first few videos that I did, you kind of couldn't hear me for some of it. Which, I mean, I'm not really saying anything super duper important, but it was just aggravating. Ta-da! Now we have 2 pieces of road. I have no idea how this is going to come out, but my general overall plan is to put different shades of blue in the sky. Obviously yellow for my sun. I already did white for the clouds. I was going to do like blacks and grays on this mountain, this mountain, this mountain, and this mountain, which I know it's AI generated, but this one little mountain right here drives me bonkers because you've got like mountain with a peak, mountain with a peak, mountain with a peak, and then a hill in the background. And then you have hills down here. So that one hill drives me bonkers, but that's okay. Anyway, I'm going to do like blacks and grays for the mountain parts, and then different shades of lighter greens for like the hills and the like lawn, grass, whatever area here. But I was thinking, I don't know yet. It depends on what projects I do over the course of this journal. But if I've come across any paper that's patterned with like flowers, I thought it might be cool to put some flowers on these like grassy areas or whatever. And then obviously I'm going to try to do darker greens for the trees. But I don't know. It could turn totally different because it all depends on what kind of scraps I have. But that's my general goal. And now you know. Now we're going to put the glue back where it belongs. Was I going to do something else in this journal? Not yet. Not yet. So we're going to put this one away for now. Well, we're going to put it to the side anyway. We're putting it to the top. That's what we're doing. I shoved it up there. I did have something I wanted to show you in the old journal. Not really show you. I have a few more pieces saved for our Friffle Scavenger Hunt. So I'm down to my last 3 pieces that I'm looking for, and I have 2 of those pieces. So after today, I'll only have 1 piece left to find, and it's eluding me. Now, if I went through all of my supplies, I'm sure I've got something somewhere, but mentally, I'm trying to use stuff that I come across, you know, I don't know. It just, in my brain, it's something different. I haven't found something polka dotted. Not something that I'm happy with anyway. So yeah, so today we're adding a cloud, which we're gonna use, I think we're gonna use this light yellow for the cloud square, just because I don't exactly have a white glitter marker. So we're gonna mark off a cloud after I prime this marker. I don't think I've used this one yet. Outside of, whoops, that's a little more yellow than I thought it was, but that's okay. Added some color. And for the cloud, I actually have the cloud template piece from the stained glass art thingy that I just showed you that I'm doing. So I saved the 2 cloud pieces and I put them together and made 1 cloud. Well, kind of 1 cloud. So that's what I'm going to use for the cloud. And we're going to put that right there, I think. Nope, we're not going to put that there. We're going to put it up here. Yeah. That's where it's going. Got this teeny tiny little pieces of tape. There we go. And we're going to put that like that. No, stay like that. There. Ta-da. Okay. And then I also have today our something blue. That is a coloring page whale that I did in a different video. I made a whole bunch of sea creatures out of a coloring page, and we colored them with watercolor pencil things and then watercolored them. So he's blue, so he's going in here. I was kind of thinking there, but now I'm not so sure. Down here, down here, down here. He's a little big. He's a little big. Could he maybe? Nah. I guess we'll put him here. Maybe we could put him like that. Kind of covers up the card a little now, but that's okay. That's okay. That's the whole point, is to make a collage-y page kind of thing. Well, that was my whole point. If you're following along, how's your friffle hunt going? Here. Now we just need one more thing, and that's something polka dotted. Do not have that yet. It's going to be really hard, though, is when I do finish it, trying to pick the favorite friffle of the month. That's gonna be hard to do. But yeah, that was something else I wanted to do today. So I'll put this back for now. I just got one more piece and then this journal gets archived. Now the other thing I wanted to do today was, if you remember this was a box from a different video that my husband's insurance sent us, and it had stuff inside that I want to make friffles out of, and I just never have yet. But as far as the box goes, if I can take it off, I would like to take off this little piece right here. Because it's cool. I like it. And then inside it had this little piece that we're going to make friffles out of, and this piece. And I haven't decided if we're going to do anything with this piece yet. And then outside of that, we've got these little, whatever those are called, crinkle paper filler things. There's a lot of filler paper in here. But yeah, we'll deal with that later. For now, you know what? I don't think, I'm gonna try zooming you out a little. You're gonna see my messy desk, but it's not letting me zoom you out. Wrong way. There we go. I think I'm gonna try the hobby knife. To cut this top off. Ta-da. And now I have dropped the watch off the holder. Stay. There we go. Now, probably should use the cutting mat. You know, the responsible thing to do would be to use the cutting mat. Wow, this hobby knife was a great idea, but it was an off-brand one. It doesn't like to stay tightened. It's really annoying. Okay, I might be able to make a friffle with that. We shall see. Which means I might be able to make a friffle out of that one, just because it's really pretty. I mean, look at those colors. It's very pretty. But most importantly, I want this here sign. So we're trying to keep this on the mat. And cut it out. And I think I would like to go right here. Okay. That in the recycle behind me. Now let's see if my plan works. And we're gonna try it on the one that I don't really care about first. So my plan, see if I can zoom you back in again a little. My plan was to try to separate this from the like interior cardboard crinkle. I've done it on a few other things before, but not everything cooperates. I mean, it kind of worked, but it put the little lines through it. But I mean, I don't care. It's still really pretty colors, and I like it. So we're gonna save it. We just might have to put it in the back of a book or something so it'll flatten it. And then I don't, maybe I can get this blue color off. Might make a cool scrap. Ooh, that would look cool in my sky. That would. Now I've got to rescue this because this would make some really cool sky pieces for the stained glass thingy. If I can get it off. Oops, ripped that, but that's okay. We're still getting some of it. Ah! Okay, well, I got a small piece for my stained glass. Okay, let's try this from the other end. You know what? This piece can go in the recycle bin. And what we'll do is we'll rescue this on this side instead of this one. That way I can have all these pretty blues for sky. Nope, for some reason it's not cooperating. Well, you know what? We're still getting a few pieces. Still got a few pieces we can cut something out of. So there. We're gonna just set those aside for a few minutes. So does that mean I can rescue the front panel like I did the other one? The dogs are sleeping so peacefully. I can hear Luna snoring. She snores when she's super comfortable. There we go. It's gonna make me sit here and scrape this off one teeny tiny little piece at a time. So despite my low mood today, guess what tomorrow is? Tomorrow is ATV day. We've made it a habit now to go out on our ATV. Well, I say our and ATV, but I have an ATV. My dad has side-by-side. And we take 4 of us out. Me, my husband, my dad, and my daughter. And we go, well, actually my daughter didn't go last time because she didn't feel like it, but usually she goes. And we've been trying out new trails around our area-ish. And last week was probably my favorite week out. And I forgot to tell you guys about it. It was a lot of fun. We tried a whole new area, and that was exciting. We went for quite a long distance too. I think we were out for, I don't know, I want to say like 6.5, 7 hours, something like that, maybe. But one of the places that we went to, we saw a sign that went a different direction than we were going. And it said something tower. I don't remember. But it said tower. And so I was like, hey, you want to follow that trail for a minute? See where it goes? And so we followed it. and it went uphill, 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 uphill. And then at the top, there was a fire tower. And they didn't have it blocked off or anything, so you could climb the fire tower. And I don't think my dad's a huge fan of heights. I don't think. I'm not sure. But he didn't go up it anyway. And my husband definitely has like vertigo, whatever issues, so he doesn't do heights. He did attempt to go up a teensy ways. I think he went like one of the flights or something. I got pictures, but he didn't go up. And so I was like, I want to go up that tower so bad. And so I was like carefully testing it because, you know, I'm still really heavy, but it seemed really sturdy, very sturdy. It was in really good condition. The only like bad part was like the very second step up was broken. It was like a wooden step and it was like broken half. But after that, the whole thing was in really good condition. So I went up. It took me a little while to get up there because, you know, my weight and muscles on stairs was a slow process. But I made it all the way to the top. And the view up there was just so cool. Now, sometimes I do have fear of heights a little bit, but it didn't really bother me that day. I was just really focused on accomplishing something, I guess, and it was a lot of fun. It was definitely, I think, my favorite thing we've ever found out there, probably, because it was just so cool. And bonus, I actually accomplished something, which, you know, is always a good feeling. Accomplished something that I normally couldn't, as in like physically. Normally I can't do stuff like that because of my weight or my physical abilities. So being able to do something was pretty cool. So that was really fun. On the way back down that trail, though, my husband almost got dumped out of the side-by-side, which was pretty hilarious. He wouldn't have gotten hurt at all, but it was funny because my dad was coming down and he weren't, I don't want to say he weren't paying attention, but didn't realize that one of the spots was like tilty, like this. And so my husband is tiny. He's super thin and also strong. So, you know, this wasn't a problem for him. But my dad come down over like a little, I don't know, it's like a little incline, but it was like bumpy and rocky and whatever. But he hit it like so hard that it bounced Philip, my husband, out of his seat like completely, butt in the air. And because he went sideways right at that point with the side-by-side, my husband actually swung out the side of the side-by-side and was holding on by the grab rails, and then just like swung himself back over or whatever. So he was fine. And even if he had fallen out, my dad wasn't going fast at all. And so he wouldn't have got hurt in any way, shape, or form. But it made for a really funny incident. I have fun every time we go out. It's nice to get out in nature. You know what? I'm not going to mess with that. Now, I am going to give you a reminder. Hydration. I'm getting a drink now. I have tea. I have an interesting collection over here for what I'm actually drinking. I have a tea, and over there I have a caffeine water that's like iced in a tumbler. But then across from that, I have 4 bottles of water that I keep bringing up to remind myself to drink water, and then I get distracted and forget to drink them. So now I've got a small little mini collection going over there. So let's go get your hydration drink. Hydration break. There we go. And I'm going to attempt to drink this tea while it's still warm instead of turning it to ice like I usually do on accident and then having to drink cold tea, which I know there's such a thing as iced tea, but for some reason, the flavors of tea that I drink, this one's like a wildflower mix, and then I think I have a chamomile one. And they're disgusting when they're cold. They're horrible. So yeah, we're gonna attempt to drink it while it's warm today. Put that away. Okay, now I think I rescued these. So, excuse me, I'm gonna put these in the back of my journal so that they'll start to flatten. I wonder if this would go better this way. Oh, it would. Look at that. Yeah, okay. Incorporate. There we go. And now we'll go like this, and we'll go like this, and we'll go there. Now hopefully that'll straighten out in a few days. What are you working on right now? Is it pretty? Oh, whoop, I'm undoing this and we can't undo that yet. That's a later project. I was gonna do something with this. I don't know what I'm doing with this yet. I might just set this aside for now. I'm not really sure. We are gonna set that aside. Now I do need to get out the cutter because I think on this one, let me see if I can move the cutter up in your view here. I think in this one, still needs to go up. There we go. I think I want to just like cut off the words. Let's try it. It's fine. But also, whoops, hold on, journal's in the way. Let's move it. There we go. Nope, it wasn't the journal. It was my bins. There we go. I'll cut off this white stuff. Cannot believe the dogs are being so quiet right now. Just before I started recording, they had just woken up from a nap. So I assumed that they were going to go absolutely crazy when I started recording. I guess it's just one of those lazy days for everybody. I had the cat in here earlier this morning when I was in here. Peaches. She was trying to steal sunbeams. I think she mostly just knocked stuff off my desk, but in her defense, she was trying to get sunbeams. Okay, now this stuff here, this little booklet, I'm just cutting the pretty pictures out of it. See, pretty pictures. But now that I did that, I also have the blue on the back. Maybe. I'm going to cut this top piece off here so it's not like ribbly. And I'm going to set this aside until I decide, because I might use this in that stained glass thing instead of this. Although I don't know, this is lighter. Yeah, but this could make a scrap for a color scrap. So we'll put that in there for a color scrap. This one, I kind of really like that like bordery thing at the bottom. I think we're going to cut that off first and then see if there's anything else we can salvage. Because it's got the fold in the middle, but that's okay. That would make a really cool border on something. So can we salvage anything else over here? Yeah, we're gonna cut this in half. I don't know why I sit and narrate everything I'm doing. I've done that my whole life. Sit and talk to myself. Tell myself what we're doing. Oops, wrong file. This one's kind of cute. I don't know about this one. It cuts off the car. But I almost wonder if that maybe adds to the charm. I don't know. We'll save it for now. Let's see. We got a full car on this one. Cool nature scene over there. And water scene there. But here I like these ones better, I think. There's a car for travel. Yeah, because this is cute, but it would be too hard to like cut it and make it look nice. So we'll stick with that. And then we're just going to leave this one whole like that because that's cool. And then this one's going to be fun because we're going to cut this in half. Now I want to cut out this scenery at the bottom. So we have that piece. But then, for whatever reason, I want this little positive potato guy. In case you didn't see the other video that I shared when I opened this box. This little thing shows a little picture. This whole thing was like all about your health benefits and whatever from my husband's work. But this little potato, it's like a little picture of a little crochet potato. And on the little sign that it's holding, it says positive potato. I may be a tiny potato, but I believe in you. You are enough. And then it's got their like logo crap. I thought that was so cute. And I was laughing. I'm like, that's so cool. And then when I dug deeper in the package, they actually sent a little crochet potato with the same sign. It's so freaking cute. So he now lives on my desk. My little positive potato. It's the most adorable thing ever. So he's actually, you can't see it in the video, but he's over there and he's sitting on the base of my ring light phone holder thingy. And he's just adorable. There. He barely stands up, but he's cute. There. Now we have a little potato. And then we have this cool picture. I think I somehow zoomed you in a little too much. And now my camera's not responding. Whee! Hi, now you get my whole desk. Yeah, whatever. We'll leave you there. This one's cool too. I think we're gonna go completely off the wall here. And we're gonna go cut it here. And here. Now we have this wide piece that we can use for a cool picture. Then we have this we can use for a scrap. Oh, we should do the sun in this. The sun would be really pretty this color. Okay, I'm gonna make myself a smaller scrap for the sun. There, now we have a sun piece. I'm gonna put that up here. Now this can just go in the colored scraps. And then here's another little piece. Don't really want this piece, I don't think. And you know what? Whatever, we'll cut it out. Because it is cute. I just don't necessarily have a use for it. Okay, it's cuter after you cut it out. I don't know why. I can't explain it. It just is. Okay, we're gonna throw this back there. I think I want to do the same thing that I did for the other one. I think I want to cut it like here, and then cut it at the bottom of the words, and you get like a cool cityscape. That's cool. I don't know. Let's see if we can cut this cityscape out. Oh, you know what? Hold on. We're going to cut this out for a color scrap. I have a ton of color scraps, but I still keep saving them because I use them all the time. I use them for so many things. Now, this is cute, but I got just a piece of a bench, and you can't really know what it is, so we're going to cut off the bench. There. New cityscape. It's got too much sky on it, though. Meh. I'm not a huge fan of that one, but we'll put it over there anyway. And then all we got is, oh, hey, look, we've got light blue down here for the sky pieces. That'll be cool. So I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna cut this down here so I can have these light pieces for the sky. We're gonna throw these away because these are gonna be really hard to work with. Well, I'm not gonna throw them away. I'm gonna recycle them because they're paper, but we're gonna save this for the sky pieces. We'll go back to that in a minute. And then we'll save this for a color scrap because it's pretty. Now I'm just gonna shove this off camera for a moment. I will clean it up in a minute because I know it's getting kind of late and you're probably getting close to going home. So I want to do these, add these to our stained glass before I leave. Which one was stained glass? Stained glass was the last one. Here we go. And then before you leave, I gotta show you my coolest page ever. It's not done. It's not even partially done, but you'll be able to see what I'm doing, and it's really cool. And it's probably gonna end up being my favorite page in this entire journal. We'll see. So I'm gonna zoom you in a little so you can see the pieces here. Now I think those would be really cool in the sky, but I want them to go like sideways. So we'll have to see. Let's do let's do a few different pieces. So let's do like, where's my, I think this is A's. Nope, that's not A's. This is gonna be A's. Yep. So let's start with A2 here. Let's flip this way. Yep. Okay. I'm gonna spread the A's out over here so I can actually see them. I'm gonna set the sun aside because we're gonna need that one. I'm gonna need that one. Okay, so we're gonna start with the A2. And let's see, A2 goes this way. So this needs to go this way. I think I'm doing that how I want to. And then I'm thinking, how about A11? Right here. So A11 normally goes this way, so we need to go this way. And then I'm thinking one more, and I'm thinking A17 right here. And A17 goes like that, so we're gonna put it like that and get some of these other colors in there. Okay, now normally I trace and then cut these off, but I think today I'm just gonna cut them right from here, I think. Because this paper is pretty thick. Chop, chop, chop. I was gonna go sit outside today because it is gorgeously sunny out. However, it is windy as heck, which means I can't cut friffles or anything. And the wind is cold. Now, granted, I don't like cold, so my version of cold is probably much lower than other people's, but much higher than other people's, whatever. However you want to word that. But I've been shivering most of the day. I even had a sweater on earlier because I was so cold. And that's bonkers, man. I shouldn't be cold in the middle of July. That should not be allowed. Got 1 of 3 cut out. Before we do the next one, I'm going to tell you a hydration reminder. Ooh, just so I can finish my tea. Well, it's slightly lukewarm. I don't even know if I'd call it lukewarm. It was slightly warmish, whatever the word for that is. Somewhere between cold and lukewarm. A hint of warm. There we go. It had a hint of warm still. Now I'm thinking about adding this stained glass printable to the link for the free printable downloads that I have for the Friffle table. But I'm not sure if anybody else, you know, would want to do something like this. I don't know. Maybe it's already been done before. I don't know. I didn't even look it up. I just had the idea and I ran with it. But if anybody is interested in doing these little stained glass things with me, then, not to sound like a normal content creator, but drop me a comment below just so that I know that somebody would actually like to use these, and I will add them to the free downloads link. Okay. Actually, before I glue these on, let's go ahead. I'm going to pick up all my little pieces here. And we're going to cut out the sun so that we can glue them all at once. So I'm thinking I would like the sun to be brighter, so we're going to put it down at this end. There, we'll save that for a paper scrap. I keep telling myself I need to do some of my other hobbies, like reading, writing, diamond art, painting, etc. But I keep coming back to my journal. So for now, I'm just going to go with it. That's ADHD for you. However, that said, I do want to do that diamond art pretty soon because I have a new project to work on and I'm excited about it. So I probably will do that pretty soon. So if you want, you can come join me at the table while I'm doing it. Oops, that one tape stayed on that one. Okay, now we're gonna glue everything on. Let me get this little. There we go. Now that I know where my glue stick is. Oh, I didn't take care of my mess. Okay, so I know this is the back of that one. And then that's the back of that one, right? I gotta double check that because that can only go one way. Okay, so that's the front, that's the back. And then that's the back of that one. And that's the back of that one. There we go. Handy dandy glue stick. Boink. This is so cool. This is so much fun. Oop, I dropped it. That's okay. Rescued. This was this one. This gives me a very serious happy. I like this. Stay. This one goes over the cloud. They're fitting together really well too, so that's cool. That helps. Well, that's pretty neat. There we go. Now I'm gonna take you in for a close-up view. Look at that. That's so cool. Got the little pieces of path down here too, but that's so cool. This is gonna be awesome. I've always had a thing for stained glass. I just never learned how to do it in real life, but stained glass has been like my favorite. I don't know if I want to say art form, but I don't know. I don't know how to word that, but can't really say art form, because if I was going to say art form, that'd be watercolor. Watercolor is my favorite, but outside of watercolor, it's stained glass. And I think anybody who makes actual stained glass is so talented and creative. So if that's you, you know, you're amazing. Well, you're amazing anyway, but that's cool. There we go. Put this away for now. Now, I know you're ready to go home, but I gotta show you one more thing. One more thing. Ta-da! Okay, it doesn't look like much, especially since I have you zoomed in too far. We'll zoom you out a little. There we go. Okay, so I'm gonna lift this up and show you a little more detail in a minute, but the far away, I am trying to do a 2-page spread that I'm just gonna like write on later, whatever, to use as a journal page. But I took 2 pages out of the back of my journal so that I could do these separately outside of the journal, and then I will glue them in. But I did one piece, this piece last night, which I'm going to show you, to make sure that my idea would work. And then this morning I glued taped these pieces in place. So they're in place and I know where they're going to go, and I like the layout of them. And then I'm going to go through and finish them later. It's probably going to take me a couple hours because it was a really slow process for me. But these images, actually, before I show you close up, these images are pictures of a quilt. Well, it was one picture of a quilt in a quilting magazine that I cut up into big chunks. Like I had the big fish chunks, and then these were all like one chunk and whatever. Then I cut it up smaller to go on here, but they were pictures from a patchwork quilt from a quilting magazine. So they're pictures of fabric. And then I placed them on here like patchwork kind of thing. Then if you look right here, see if I can get it without the glare, I sewed it. I sewed it on. I took this tiny baby thread that I have and this teensy tiny needle. I don't know if you can see that needle. And I'll flip this over. I sewed it. Now, is my sewing job absolutely atrocious? 100%. And I didn't know how to like tie it off because it's paper, so I just taped it. And then every time I got it tangled and I broke it, we just taped it. Like, I ain't going for perfection here. Good enough is good enough. But that's what the back looks like. And then that's what the front looks like. See, how cool is that? And I know you're in a camera, but you can feel the stitches, which is so cool. This is going to end up being my favorite page, I think, in the whole journal for that reason. That said, I have been cutting up a bunch of quilt pieces to use for like backgrounds and collages and stuff. And I think, I don't know, I'm not making no promises, but I think for the majority of pieces, when I add them in, I think I'm going to do this like stitching thing. Now, am I going to do a lot of it? No. And am I going to do more pages where it's all that's on here? No, because this is a lot of stitching for me. But when I add like a small piece or something, it would be cool to do the stitching. And yeah, so I did it separately like this, so that way I could be able to move and twist and turn when I was, you know, sewing it and whatever. And I also wanted to be able to hide this monstrosity in the back. So now my plan is when I'm all done and I got both pages done and I'm ready to put it in the journal, I'm going to then glue this in on the next 2-page spread like this. And then I can add my page stickers and my page numbers will stay the same, and it will hide, like sandwich it between the 2 layers. And yeah, I think it's going to be really cool. This is probably the most excited I've been about a journal page. I can't say when. I can't remember when the last one was. That was a top favorite, but because I like a lot of them. I like most of them. But yeah, this was pretty exciting. I just wanted to show you that because that's cool. So yeah, I will let you go home now while I clean up my mess. I just don't want you to forget. Go get your hydration in case you haven't yet. And yeah, let me know if anybody wants to do the, let me know if you want to do the stained glass effect picture. And if you do, I will add it to the Dropbox link for the downloads. And I hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye.